Mario Party 7 released November 7th, 2005 for the Nintendo GameCube, one of Nintendo's last published games on the system. The thing with this one is that not many people talk about it, and it sort of gets a lot of flack for the sheer fact that it's, well, not Mario Party 6 or 2.
And this is where I come in to clear things out and tell those who think the game sucks that it doesn't.
You're also probably thinking this is nostalgia fueled or something, like how most people like Mario Party 8. I personally don't like it that much. Minigames, iffy. I mean, Koopa's Tycoon, whatchamacallit on this game, the board, it's pretty good. But the main problem with this is, it sort of just doesn't feel as polished as some of the other games, considering it was originally supposed to be a GameCube release, and it got pushed over to the Wii, stuffed with motion controls and suggestive movements. And also, let us not forget the fact that this was built around 4:3 aspect ratio, rather than the widescreen, so you can clearly tell that that was half-assed in this release. There's nothing wrong with this. If you grew up with it, that's totally fine. It's not a bad game at all. In fact, it has a really good board in it, similar to one in Mario Party 7, but I guess I'm to believe this one does it better. And I'm no different. I'm definitely nostalgia blind when it comes to a lot of games. For example, 7 apparently is just not that good, because it doesn't have a day-night mechanic, or costumes. Hey, at least no one finds this game amazing. Another thing to add, Mario parties are very touchy subjects. For example, my favorite one on the Nintendo 64 just so happens to be Mario Party 3. What? Not 2? Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. I'm a weirdo. Since I'm an early to mid-2000s kid, I didn't grow up with the Nintendo 64. I've always wanted one when I was younger, for such classic titles as Dr. Mario 64 and Yoshi's Story, for some reason. I also wanted Mario DDR, so don't question that. But when it comes to 7, I'm very biased, to say the least. I will try to limit that as much as I can, though. The only reason I like 3 is because it feels so polished, and the character roster, it just feels like a mixture of the GameCube era, because it was a transition. And, you know, I don't know. It was made in 2001. I guess that's also cool. Many years ago, in the far-off date of 2005, my mom went out and bought a GameCube, came bundled with Mario Party 7 for my older sister. I was but a youngin' at the time, and I didn't know much, so I would just tag along and play with her whatever she did. It also came with a microphone and a spare radical blue controller.
But that's besides the point. This little lunchbox sparked something inside me. Ever since then, I've become infatuated with a little-known company called Nintendo. I poured hours upon hours into these games, among those being Mario Party 7. Well, enough waiting. Let's get to the game already!
I will preface this by saying, if you've ever played 6, this is very similar. Not only is the composer exactly the same, I'm pretty sure everyone who worked on 6 just transferred over to 7.
Well, here it is, Mario Party 7. Let me go over a few of the Mario Party basics, in case you aren't familiar. The goal of the main game is simple. Get stars using whatever is at your disposal. The way to get stars is with coins. Those are given out at the start, after winning minigames, and randomly from different events, spaces, or just because. You and 3 others compete for these stars, and whoever comes out on top is the superstar, and wins the game. Mario Party relies on skill and luck, also plenty of strategy. Typically, it's a round-based game, each player getting a turn per round, and each round ending in a minigame. Those turns are spent rolling a predetermined dice block that results in a given number you can use for movement across spaces. Sometimes being given a prompt where you can influence your movement depending on what you land on or pass. Before starting the party, you can tweak it how you like, usually with minigame options, handicaps, difficulties, maps, turn count, and the speed of the game, via text, skipping CPU stuff, or saving, in case you quickly need to party or something. And there you have it, a blanket description that describes most, if not all, Mario Party games. Now for the more exclusive features restricted to this or some other titles in the series. So far, this is the only Mario Party with 8-player support. Sure, it may be by sharing a controller, but that doesn't hinder it much. From what I've heard, it's a fairly good time. Deluxe Cruise is a minigame focused mode, however, but I guess that works out. Still have to wait on an 8-player Mario Party mode. The modes are also perfect for 8 players. They're a bit shorter most of the time, but it's hard to keep the attention of 8 people, so it works out. The Deluxe Cruise minigames are a great time. Many of my favorites reside here, such as Shock Absorbers, Unhappy Trails, Baba McPlague, Rope-a-Dope, and etc. I should mention, Baba McPlague is there mostly because of the stress factor, just adds to the fun, although it's really cheesable. Also, let me mention, I won't go too in-depth with the little side modes or quirks in the game, as that would drag out the video a bit too long. Another feature is GameCube mic support. Yes, you saw it earlier, hot off the heels of Mario Party 6, this is another one of the few GameCube games that support it. I swear, there's always that one peripheral you go up with thinking it's normal, and then you bring it up and no one's ever heard of it. Welp, that was the GameCube mic for me. It's just used for voice commands and some minigames, and the mic space minigame. Figures. Nintendo, if you're listening, give us a good Paper Mario game again. Now, let's dig into the game's more traditional Mario Party offerings. We'll start by entering Solo Cruise. Solo Cruise, if you're just that inept at noticing the obvious, is Mario Party 7's single-player mode. This mode is duel-based, where you and a CPU attempt to get 2 stars, slowly traversing each board until you reach Bowser to unlock his minigame and board. This is just like your regular Mario Party game mode. However, there are no minigames played at the end of each round. Rather, you have to land on a duel space to trigger a duel minigame. Speaking about duel minigames, they essentially are a chance time for this game, just favoring more skill over RNGesus. There are also coin blocks in different corners of the map. Otherwise, it's your typical Mario Party affair. And that covers it for Solo Cruise. On to the next one. Let's look at the smaller side attractions before we get into the main party mode, starting with the duty-free shop. This is basically the extras. Look at stats, unlock things with your cruise miles, the in-game currency you get for just playing the game, view purchase models, listen to sounds or songs, and view categorized minigames. This is the little side menu that almost every Mario Party has, and there's nothing much to it. Minigame Cruise is another staple mode. This features other ways to party with smaller side modes. I'll just be focusing on the main mode though. It's as basic as it gets. You just play minigames. Yeah, you play whatever minigames you unlock so far. Being able to choose the CPU difficulty. There's also 2 rare minigames exclusive to this mode purchased from the duty-free shop. The other little side modes are also a great time if you just want to play without the party mode. Some of my favorite minigames are Mag Magical Journey, Fun Run, Track and Yield, Ghost in the Hall, Thunderwall, Funsicle Course, Pokepommel, Picture This, Spider Stomp, Hop-O-Matic 4000, Cardinal Rule, The Final Countdown, Deck Hands, Camp Ukiki, Lightspeed, Jumpman, and etc. And that's about it. Not too much to say about minigame mode, other than it's very minigame oriented for obvious reasons. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the final stretch. Time to talk about Party Cruise. But before we get into that, let me brush you up on the story of this game. Toadsworth wants to take everybody on vacation. Cool. Oh yeah, and I guess Bowser doesn't like that or something. I don't know, who even cares about that guy? Might I also add, Toadsworth is a great pick for a Mario Party host. Just felt that needed to be said. So anyways, the tried and true party mode these Mario Party games tend to be about. Up first is the way this version is formatted and what differs from each board. Grand Canal is your standard map, nothing special, just good old Mario Party. Pagoda Peak is interesting and probably the best board in the game. It's a linear path with a star at the top. The price of the star increases every time it's bought, and gong happening spaces can also change the price. Pyramid Park is also cool. This is the kind of map where everyone starts off with stars, and the only way to get more is to commit theft. The main way being chain chomps. There are 2 cheap ones and 1 expensive red one that lets you move further. Neon Heights is another more simple board, only gimmick being small minigames and 3 random chests, 1 having the star. Windmillville is another good one. This is one where you invest in windmills. The player with the highest stake owns it. There are plenty, varying in star count. Last is Bowser's Enchanted Inferno. Super basic map. The islands just fall depending on if it has a star or not. And that's all the maps you have. Onto the mechanics of this game mode. Mario Party 7 features the classic blue-red happening shop in Bowser spaces. It also features the returning dual DK and orb/item space, with the newly introduced spaces being Koopa Kid and Mike spaces. Duel triggers a duel minigame, DK triggers a DK minigame, Orb makes you pick up an orb, Koopa Kid is like a mini Bowser space, and Mike triggers the Mike space minigame. Speaking of these orbs, they are your items for this game. Each orb has a different use. Green ones are used on yourself. Yellows are trap space orbs, leading to an unpleasant space for those who land on it. Red are the ever so evil roadblock orbs. Anyone who passes the space it was used on gets affected. Last, blue ones are your special. These vary from character to character, a la Mario Kart Double Dash. All orbs are one-time use unless there is listed lasting effects in the descriptions. Now let's talk about Bowser time. Every 5 turns, your controller has a seizure and Bowser does something annoying. A lot of the things he does is map specific, so that's a nice touch. He also does something delightfully devilish for the last 5 turns. Just like normal, he's out to ruin your day. So, final verdict. How does the game pull all this off? I'd say pretty damn good. It's a solidly built game. Most gripes are for minigame balance and perspective issues. Otherwise, it's a great time. This game is also packed with personalities such as Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door and Superstar Saga, both from around that time. It's got a nice character roster and a healthy amount of minigames. Guess it was just because at the time people were sick of how much of a Mario Party this Mario Party was. They wanted some more originality.
Look what you've done.
Yeah, I think sticking with the original formula is just fine enough. Also, one more thing. The control room is an options menu. I really appreciate you making it all the way here. Hope you enjoyed. I also hope I inspired you to dig out a Mario Party, hand over the crappy controller to player 2, and had yourself a bit of fun. I'll see you guys later.